Welcome to Center of Light, all you beautiful, sexy human beings. Keith Anthony Blanchard here, Yanava. Center of Light Radio, Center of Divine Unfoldment and Reinforcement. Strap in all my brothers and sisters, astronauts, as we launch for inner space. Center of Light Radio, radio to ignite the soul in the transformation station. Good to see you. Welcome here on a Tuesday night. If you would, please take this time to share this to you all. Share this out. We've got to get this algorithm up for this beautiful work of mine, this beautiful time with you, so we can do what we do best. What would that be? Just hanging out and being a tribe. Let's get right down to Center of Light Radio business with a couple of adverts. September 21st and 22nd, Memphis, Tennessee, Agri Center, Cordova, Memphis. September 21st and 22nd, 4 Points Spiritual Expo, put on by Circle of Chi. That's Circle of QI, Circle of Chi, Victoria Smith. You can find that on Facebook at Circle of Chi, Circle of QI, as well as on the internet. Keynote speakers, Dr. Rita Louise, phenomenal. She is a powerhouse. Keynote speaker, Dr. Jason Rand, Larry Flaxman from Ancient Aliens, Lynette Marie, keynote speaker. She's going to be speaking about health, wellness, pure health. She's a pure health warrior. And yours truly is going to be a keynote speaker. I'm going to be speaking about radical transformation. I'm going to grab you, because I love you, and I'm going to throw you into the fire. What fire, Keith? I'm going to throw you into your own hellfire so you can burn away that which is transient and move into your divine fire. That which you have been, we've all been seeking all of our life. $20 for both days. $15 per day. If you're from out of town, road trip is always fun. Come hang out a night before. I'll show you around Memphis if I'm not playing music. And if I am, you come out and see me play. Wake up in the morning, we go do breakfast. We'll head over to the Spiritual Expo. Let me tell you what's going to be there. Crystals, I love them, and stones, nutrition, holistic medicine services, environmentally conscious businesses, spiritual readers, authors, paranormal investigators, researchers, Akashic records. Hello, auric photography. Hello, I'm going to be all about some auric photography. I'm going to be interviewing all these vendors at all these booths live, if possible, all day long. That is my shake hands deal with 4 Points Expo. Free and paid workshops, food trucks, and lots of entertainment. This event is going to be a life-changing event. It's not designed for you to show up just to buy a whole bunch of cool stuff, which is cool. Buy some cool stuff, and we all like cool stuff. But it's about you taking something literally away from the 4 Points Spiritual Expo. What are you taking away from there and bringing it home with you? An aspect of yourself that is a great possibility to become the most effulgent, illumined human being that you are. You can find more, again, about this event, contacting me in this forum. Hey, Keith, I'm interested to know more about the 4 Points Spiritual Expo. You can send me an inbox, a Facebook inbox message, or you can contact me at keithanthonyblanchard@gmail.com. multimedia.com. Tickets go on sale. Tickets are on sale. I'm reading some of the notes. I gotta get my adverts in, y'all. I want to share with you. Oh, also Sunday, 6 p.m. Sunday, there is going to be a keynote speaker panel. We're going to participate in an open discussion about the paranormal, Planet X. Oh gosh, you get to basically watch 4 or 5 people go at it. All right. Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Center of Light Radio. John says, Keith, where is the fire, brother? It's in your heart, my friend. It is in your heart. A couple of more adverts. We're going to get down to some bizwax. Listen to this. September 21st. I'm like a little kid at a candy store, a puppy dog that's about to get bought. He sees his potential new owner in the window and that tail starts a wagging. September 25th, Memphis, Tennessee. Road trip. Come in for the spiritual fair. Stay 4 extra days if you can. I'm going to have an interview with a God-realized, yes, you heard me correctly, God-realized man from India. Swamiji Visvayogi. His name is Sri 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 Visvayogi Viswamji Maharaj. This is his 9th incarnation on the planet. He was the first God-realized soul to ever walk upon the face of the earth. 7:30 p.m. Central Time in Memphis. For the experience, my interview with, I'm going to ask him, what is the state of the world? And I have to be very careful with my questions. He doesn't jack around. So I want to fashion my questions around my heart. Not just some spiritual woo-woo crap. I had the chance to speak to the divine, and I'm grateful. I'm blessed. And so are you, to be a part of this Shaktipat, being able to see God walking on earth, sending you cosmic divine love nuggets. I'm going to ask him questions that are for real, serious. What do we do about all this in the world? Not from a political platform, but from a human heart, open heart platform. I understand spirit will not play or dabble in the arena of politics. So I'm not going to ask you from the arena of politics. I'm going to ask you from the place inside of me that is a human. That says, what about all this spraying in the skies? Fukushima poisoning the Pacific Ocean. Flint, Michigan water. The food being poisoned. So forth. And the ground shaking beneath our feet. What do we do to be stable, balanced, solid, so we can best do your work? That's the kind of questions I'm going to be bringing forth. And finally, before we get down to some Center of Light Radio business, Thursday night on Center of Light Radio, this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, my guest is going to be Hillary Ramo, designing your inner landscape. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be redonkulous. She's a powerhouse. She is a powerhouse. And so is my guest tonight, Miss Nori Love. And we're going to be speaking about increasing well-being during changing times and storms. Hello? Current event is going to take place tonight. And myself and my beautiful guest, powerful guest, Nori Love, I'm going to do everything in our spiritual power, Wonder Twin powers activate, to get as clear as possible with an intention of love, delivery of a sacred humanity, a united humanity. Everyone wants that. Even the people that are bitching, moaning, groaning, and complaining. They all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. How do we actualize that beyond our opinions? There comes a time when we need to put our big boy, a big girl spiritual pants on, because we are no longer the children of God. We have been given full responsibility and power to stand up as an adult and do something about what's happening in the world. And it begins with Lavender Soul, my spiritual band. It begins with a choice. You have a choice. We all have a choice. Collectively, when we choose, collectively we unite, and collectively we have the power. I have the power! Stick around.
Remember that all things are possible. You must choose to be accountable, responsible, enough to believe, and open your heart to receive.
Above and look at your life, and you see the life you live. Can you be surprised that it all turned out this way and not the way you planned? It's about what you know and what you understand. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Learn to follow that inner voice inside. That's the one that's telling you not to run and hide. See what your life could be when you visualize. It's about what you choose that you'll realize. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Now it's time for you to plan out your life. Seeing what you do by your own design. It's all up to you to make it what you can. It's of your own free will. What don't you understand? Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Your life is a choice. Choice, life's a choice. It's a choice. Make a choice.
Welcome back, my tribe, to Center of Light Radio. Things are moving. Just want to give a quick announcement before I bring on my guests for tonight, which I'm so excited about. I went to the website, John Hunt Publishing website, who has picked up a new book of mine that I'm about to release. Thank you, Gavin Lee Davies, literary agent friend guy I interviewed, sorry about that, a brother I interviewed a couple of years ago, said, Keith, I love your writing. I'm a literary agent, publisher, marketing guy for John Hutz. Let me get you, and he got me a fantastic book deal. And it's about to come out soon, maybe around Christmas, just before. Perfect, huh? And I went to there, and they sent me the first cover. This is what it looks like. No, I'm teasing. I can't give that away yet. But I'm excited. I'm giddy. I can't contain myself. So much is happening. So much is moving. And finally, before we get down to some beeswax, I am about to launch a spiritual course. It's titled Power, Connection, and Purpose. I'm going to be giving you 4 models. You're going to have an immediate experience. It's got a little bit of spiritual woo-woo in it. You want to be motivated, right? I want to put you in a space where you go, oh my God, I actually experienced this. It's going to be in a Q&A format. No one has access to this program but you. If you purchase this program, and trust me, it is very affordable to change your life. It's not what you think it's going to be. I do this because I love it. And the universal law is about exchange. People who contribute to something they truly desire have a better opportunity to integrate certain things that they acquire. Contact me here in this forum, in the feed. Send me a personal message in inbox, Facebook, or you can contact me, Keith Anthony Blanchard at Gmail. So Keith, I am interested in your workshop. I don't jack around. If I see you trying and you don't, quote, get any particular point, I will pick you up and throw you in the moving river. I will be there as a coach, life preserver, a sounding board. But if you can't find your way when you want to find your way, we're going to find it. You're either going to sink or swim. Look for it. Let's get down to some Center of Light Radio business. I am so excited to talk to Nori about this. People often ask me, Keith, I would love to be on your show. What should we talk about? I said, well, don't ask me. This is your platform. I want you to talk about your heart. And Nori's heart tonight lies with increasing well-being during changing times and storms. Let me tell you about Nori Love. She has an angelic kingdom, fairy kingdom kind of way. She's soft. You will see it immediately. She's got this purple quality about her. Very angelic. It's very angelic. And I know some things about her that her and I have never discussed, about some of her multidimensionality selfage. Nori Love is a multidimensional, multimedia, multimodal healing artist who uses hypnotherapy, transformational imagery meditation, law of attraction coaching, as well as her intuition and spirituality to assist others to increased well-being on all levels, body, mind, spirit, and soul. I like that she said spirit and soul versus mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul. She actually separated spirit and soul. Human, right? Mind, emotions, soul, then spirit. Love it. She's on point. Nori is hosting the 3rd annual Body, Mind, Spirit, and Soul Fusion 12-week masterclass this fall. You can hear Nori on broadcastteamalpha.com Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Nori's quote to live by is, "Be you, full out." Without a doubt. That's my added little extra. You can contact Nori at norilovemail@gmail.com. Enter Nori Love.
Hello.
Hello, Nunkin. What you up to?
Hi. Oh, it's so good to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. It's good to play with you again in the arena of all that is good.
Absolutely.
What I mentioned in introducing you, I know you. I know you from the fairy kingdom. I know you from the angelic kingdom. In fact, I know you from where those two kingdoms cross-fade. How do I know that, and how am I for sure? Because you remind me of my time of being in such a place, even beyond my own conscious understanding of it. I am aware of that place in me, in you, that you and I have played before. Does that make sense to you? Does that feel like you, that you live in this fairy angelic crossfade kind of a...
Absolutely.
Is that your past, sort of?
Yeah, sometimes it's my present too. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. What you been
Yeah.
doing? What you been doing, girlfriend?
Whew, what have I been doing? Lots of things, are changing, right? I mean, everything is changing. The world seems to be changing so quickly, and right now I'm pet sitting in Florida. So I'm pet sitting for 4 dogs. So if you hear a dog barking, that's the reason. But it's beautiful here. It's magical here. The sky is amazing, and uh, the weather's beautiful.
Where
So
are you in Florida, sweetheart?
I am very northern Florida. I am right over the Georgia line in the Fernandina Beach, the Amelia Island area.
Are you near, what's that famous place in Georgia, Savannah? Is it kind of east?
Oh,
And is the landscape somewhat the same? No, you're not that.
well, it's a little. It's not your stereotypical Florida because
Basically,
it is northern.
is it swampy there?
No, it's not really swampy, but there's a lot of Spanish moss and, really a magical quality
That's what
to
I was getting at, because the reason
yeah.
I asked that was because where I'm from in South Louisiana, it has that haunting old New Orleans voodoo-ish
Yes.
feel. So I was asking because Savannah is known for that kind of haunting. Well, they have lots of hauntings there, but that whole thing. So, Nori, when I made contact with you recently, you and I tried to do our best to play in the human arena
Yeah.
with all the right intentions to have this workshop. That didn't happen. So that being said, I contacted you recently and said, let's make up for it. Let's get on the air. And you shared this title with me, Increasing Well-Being During These Times That, oh dear Lord, are changing, as well as, just all that's going on during these storms. Like Brian Harden, a guest of mine a few nights ago, last week, he said, and he didn't mean this as doom and gloom and ominous. He said, a storm is coming for everyone. He's basically, what he's saying is, dear one, just prepare. A storm is coming. So when you prepare for the storm, it's not so doom and gloom if you go in the house when it's lightning, if you have an umbrella when it's raining. So what inspired you to want to share this model of increasing well-being during times of change and storms?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, my whole my whole offering of what I do is increasing well-being on all levels. And my website, which is finally going to be up soon, is Everything Conscious. And back in 2014, it was increasing well-being on all levels. And that's really when I had to cull it down. When I had to take all of the aspects of who I am and what I do and make it into, a cohesive sentence or a cohesive, meaningful words. That's what I am. That's what I do. Whether I'm working with people in hypnotherapy or whether I'm life coaching, whether I am, working with a dying patient, it's all the same thing. It's all increasing well-being. And right now, there's so many things happening and people are so uneasy, or they're having discontent, or they're having, dis-ease, or they're having discomfort. And I'm not even immune to that. There were some things that happened in my now that made me go, oh, wow, this is a storm that snuck up on me. And I just, I kind of take the pulse like a good nurse. I take the pulse. I take the temperature just intuitively of what's going on. And that title just, it wouldn't go away. It demanded that I share that with you and that we talk about this here.
One thing I have noticed about you, even when you just started sharing your last statement, was that though you are schooled in what you do as a hypnotherapist and this and that and all the different guises and garbs and hats that Nori Angelic Love wears, the schooling has brought you to a place of using your an instrument, I mean the all of you, But now that you are so well integrated in the learning of all that stuff, you, like me as a musician, have put all that nonsense aside. Yes, a brain surgeon is not a brain surgeon until he puts his hand in gray matter. He may learn everything in college, and that has nothing to do with about putting your hand inside of a wet, moist, juicy brain.
Exactly.
So, but I see in you, it's not all methodic. You go in there and you use method, not the one they told you. In fact, you might have fashioned your own method around 4 or 5 of the practices, and maybe even thrown those away and created your own way of falling into yourself. And so, one thing I know about you is that your words are very clear. You're very articulate. There's not a lot of words. It's the information in between the words that are being spoken. You are gifted that way. Do you work with people often? And I spoke about hypnotherapy, what is usually the field, the style that you work in when you're working with people one-on-one?
So that was surprising for me because, I took all of this hypnotherapy and advanced hypnotherapy lessons, and I figured, well, I'm a nurse. I'm going to help people lose weight. I'm going to help people stop smoking. I'm going to help people with pain control. And it surprised me that the people that came, I'm very cautious to guide people so that I don't influence their session at all. And we could have the intention for going into a session, for one of those maybe mundane reasons. And Keith, they would end up going to another dimension, another planet, another galaxy, and get activated, with a bunch of interdimensional beings during their session. And I would end the session, and just like sit there with my hand on my head in my hand going, I cannot believe this just happened. And it turned out over time, when I started piecing them all together, that the trend is that I help people activate. I help people hit that harmonic chord that puts them into alignment so that they can be who they came to be full out. And, for some people that may play out on the stage of work and family. And then for some people, it's playing out that they're a light worker, they're a starseed, and they accidentally, right, air quotes, come to me and find activation or find empowerment or find something that gets them to their next level.
What an amazing setup. I love being with guests. And I'm going to be honest with you, Nori. I'm going to give you your kudos that you deserve, and many others. When I've been doing interviews for years, I've interviewed thousands of people as a host. I'll take my kudos. Yeah. So, but my point is, when I interview people, I get it. Some people are new, and some people are just full, and they like rambling, and they like marathon talking. I get it, and that's cool. I like dialogue. Dialogue is about playing spiritual tennis. It creates discussion. It creates new ideas. There's a third something. You've got you and me. Then what happens between you and me is this third thing that is born between you and I communicating. You know how to interview. You know how to get in there, say what you mean, intend what you want to say. And being a musician, it's like writing a song. Here's the first line of the song. It's always question. The first line of the song is always question. The second line is always answer. Da-da-da-da-da. That's question. Da-da-da-da-da. That's answer. So you led me right into this beautiful place of what I wanted to ask you was,
Yay.
Since you mentioned you being an expert in the field and a teacher of activating people, give me a hypothetical. Keith Blanchett walks into Nori's house, or I do a session with you on Skype. Nori, I heard that you are an amazing activator. How would you treat me? How would you begin to activate me other than initially assessing me and seeing what I need? What would be part of the process that you would go through to activate someone?
That's a good question. And I just want to go back a little bit because you said that I'm good at interviewing, and the truth is that I can only say this cohesively right now because I have spent so many days, weeks, months looking at everything that has happened, right? I mean, I am in awe and wonder every time I have these sessions that I get to look back on now and go, okay, I've been activating people. Okay, people are stepping into their harmonic alignment so that they can go out and do what they came to do. So it's not that I have practiced interviewing or I'm good at interviewing. It's that I have done such deep, curious introspection with this gift that I've been given that, I can speak to you now about it. So
I love the fact that this is part of the magic. Let's go back to the title of this interview: increasing well-being. When you go in,
exactly.
and you iron out the creases, I'm going into the creases. I'm increasing my well-being. If we go into that wellspring, you may not know that you were doing something. But in hindsight, when you look back, you go, oh my God, something has been happening. This happened to me, Nori, when I started these center of light bursts that you see me doing on my personal self, communicating with the people in the audience, and do all that bells and whistle stuff, which I absolutely adore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know something was happening.
Right.
I did 8 videos. A friend of mine was out of town. I was sitting on the sofa, bored out of my skull, looking over their house. And something just said, Keith, go sit by the fireplace and look in your phone and start recording your message. I said, okay. And I did. And after the first 8 or 10 of those videos, because I watched them back to learn,
yes,
I'll go, oh my God, something is happening. Yeah. So I'm writing this book now called Radical Transformation about these very things. So that my point is, in hindsight, I never saw this coming. I did not set this up, as you just so poetically explained. In hindsight, you go, oh my God, I had no intention for this, but some aspect of myself is unfolding in a very poetic, beautiful way.
Yes, exactly. And, I'm coming to not be surprised by that now. I mean, I'm always in awe and I'm always so incredibly grateful, but I'm getting to a point where I'm not so surprised by it. It totally surprised me. Just a little bit of background, my whole life I've been looking for my thing. Back in the day when I was living in Virginia Beach, I was, hanging around at the Edgar Cayce Center and, hung around with all kinds of metaphysical and spiritual people. And they were all moving into their realm. Somebody was a reader and somebody does, past life regressions, and somebody is a healer. And I knew that I had the gift of healing, but it never became clear to me what my thing was. And I felt like I was always standing in the background, cheering all my friends on, going, what's my thing? What's going to be my thing? And as a result of that, I was a perpetual student. I took all kinds of, that's why I'm multimodal. I use multiple modalities that all meld into like a unique version of all of that. So, but when I was a nurse and I went to the burn trauma ICU and I demanded that God and the universe finally, prove to me, it proved to me a million times before, but prove to me this time, prove to me, amid all of my colleagues who are steeped in Western medicine, and I'm in this unit where the electrical interference is just insane. And if the pieces are living because the patients are so broken, is there a chance we can really put them back together? Like, you prove it to me right here. So I'm waiting and nothing's happening. And then like 3:00 in the morning, I called the chaplain in, and it was this amazing man from Africa, and his name was Datawa. And I used to say, when Datawa prayed, God listened. And, I would only call him when it was a really desperate situation and, or the last few moments. And he came one night and all of a sudden I broke out into a sweat and I felt the direction of a very clear It wasn't a voice because I didn't hear it. It's something that you feel. It's something that you know. And I went deep, deep inside.
Nori, I wanna interrupt you on purpose because you just dropped
Yes.
a juicy spiritual bomb.
Yes.
And for those who are advanced, it doesn't mean you're better and it doesn't mean anyone else that you're less. But for those who are able to dabble in this arena, you said something very, very delicious, and I can relate to it, and I'm sure many others can. When you said the voice spoke, I can hear it, but you said, I felt it. In that feeling is a hearing. Yes, it's almost
Yes.
it's in fact it's a seeing. A blind man once said it doesn't require sight to climb Mount Everest, it requires vision. So that hearing takes a different form entirely through the feeling base. It's like there's so much more encrypted in that
Yes.
expansive information that came about through this grace. Yes, would that be somewhat of a
That is so accurate. And I mean, one day I hope to be able to put words to it accurately, because
we
it's
can't
I
we can't
know,
put
I know. It's
words to
not in this framework here, right? Not in Earth. So um but I would be directed to do, say this to the patient, okay, use your mind and use your prayers to make yourself well. I mean, this is a very, watered down version of it. But it was unique to each patient. And when spirit would flow through like that, and I did what I needed to do, I would just cry. I could not stop crying. And it wasn't because I was sad, it was because of the sheer beauty of what had happened.
Angel, 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 I want to validate you because you deserve it. Not that you don't believe it. I want to support you and actually push you even further to into what you already know. When I was writing the divine principle, all right, I'll go inside, I'll boot up my computer. Spirit, I am available as I possibly can be, and if I'm not, open me up to your satisfaction that I may receive, right? These kinds of love nugget prayers like we all do, right? And so, Nori, when I would get a pack, an iPack, an electronic pack of juicy love and light nugget from God, I would go into these crying spells
Yes.
for a minute. I mean, profusely crying, my nose snotting. I'm using my shirt. I got to change my shirt because I got snot all over it because
Yes.
of the ecstasy that is moving through my body. Like I just asked you, it's another way of hearing through the feeling, and it's going to run its course. And in fact, if you start crying now, plan
Yeah.
that your time is taken for another 2 minutes because you ain't going anywhere till you can get this out.
Exactly.
It's like this crying.
Yes.
It's like we have experience on an ongoing level continuously this level of blissful feeling. So the
Exactly.
body has to cry as some expression to somewhat relieve ourselves from this spiritual bloating. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. That's true. It's it's like you either have to cry or you're going to explode into a bunch of sparkles. Like, wasn't Nori working tonight? Yeah. Oh, look, see that pile of sparkles? That was Nori. So absolutely. And even now, when I work with people, whether I do hypnotherapy or whether I do Reiki, and I always ask for permission, even when I do hypnotherapy, if they're open to Reiki, because if healing flows through and they want it, then I want to be available, for them to have it. But I let them know, when spirit rolls in, there's a good chance that I'm going to cry. And it doesn't mean that I'm sad. It just means that it's the most ecstatic moment. So I, it's easier, I think, to cry when you're a guy because your mascara doesn't run down your face, and and you wipe your shirt and you've got your makeup all over your shirts. Yeah, yeah.
And we really don't care.
I know. I don't care.
I got a shirt full of snot, and I'm like, oh my God, I got a trophy. I got a badge. Everybody look at this.
It
And women
so
are
doesn't
going
matter.
into the bathroom and changing their blouse. I am so enjoying my time with you. Thank you, dear.
Me too.
I love your way. Again, you have this very clear, articulate way about you. And it's more about what you don't say than it is what you say. I think the volume and the language of the language of light that you are by nature. You're not trying to speak anything. You're just expressing. It's very, very gorgeous. So let's continue to talk more about increasing well-being. Let me ask you this, Nori. Well-being. It's just a word. Well-being. That means feeling good. I'm feeling happy today. I'm in a state of well-being. What is true well-being that is worth a person stopping their 9 to 5 grind that says, I need to pay attention to my well-being? What would be for you as far as how would you describe that well-being you're trying to activate in people?
So, on this first surface level, well-being is, good, being comfortable, being satisfied, being okay, being content. But we tend to recognize what well-being really is when we don't have it. And we notice it when suddenly it slips out of our awareness. So we could be going along, in our well-being, and all of a sudden, we've been focusing on work, we've been focusing, and we've neglected, our food, we've neglected our body, and all of a sudden, wow, I've got a sore throat and a cold. So that knocked out that part of our well-being. But if we were focused on work and now we've got a cold, and we were also so focused and so monovision on work or some other project that we forgot about our spirituality, well, then something else is going to show up. Right. And to me, when it shows up for me, if I've not tended to my spirit and my soul, usually something very dramatic in my life, not dramatic that people would recognize, but something very poignant for me. And it kind of, sometimes it feels like a little slap up the back of the head. Sometimes it feels like I've been sucker punched, and sometimes it brings me to my knees. So in that context, well-being is the absolute flow of energy and our presence and our balance between body, mind, spirit, and soul.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for attending Center of Light Radio.
Thank you.
How can we step beyond that, Nori? Look, I'm open to the possibility, the grand possibility, but what you just shared was from such a space within you. As a teacher myself, I had no choice but to take that in. And it sounds like I'm licking your boot. Well, I am licking your boot. That's just amazing that you are able to come from this space of true divinity, which is, I understand who I am. What more so than who you are? We look at who as a personification, but truly in spirit, you're not really a who. You're more of a what, included a who. You're also a when, never a why. You're not a why. That's a question. We are the answer.
Right.
But you understand that so much so you're no longer dabbling, playing, hanging out in the arena of. Basically, you know exactly who you are, your worth. That's your currency. You allow yourself to move in the current. See, and so your life, as in its worth and your value, gets more appraised, more praise. It's, in other words, what I'm saying is, for people who do the work diligently, your life is not, if you want spiritual liberation, whoever you are, your life is not church on Sunday. It can be. It can be a beautiful expression. When that becomes default, and you live every day, every breath you take, to where that becomes default, that's when you get over the 51% mark and the momentum gets behind you. And it gets behind you. And every time someone acknowledges you or someone validates you, you say, oh my God, it's not validation from ego. Look, I love my fucking ego. I love my ego. I'm a human being, and I will drink a shot of tequila and smoke a cigarette. I will do these things that human beings do. Why? I know the spiritual law. I'm okay with spiritual law. I'm very grounded in who I am, and I love being a folly human being. I like making mistakes. I like committing sin, meaning I like learning, and I like what this lifestyle may bring me. My point is, I have already weighed out the possibilities if I do or don't do a certain thing, how my life's going to go. I'm happy being me. You are joyful being you. And I think the greatest spiritual lesson that everyone can glean from people like you and other teachers of the like is that it's okay to make not only mistakes, it's okay to be so human in your fragility.
Yes. And that's exactly why, everything that I do is about body, mind, spirit, and soul. So you notice that there's the body in there because although we are spirit and soul, we are our mind. We came here to be in these bodies. These bodies hosted us. These bodies are our vehicle to carry us around and do what we came to do in this life. And we have to tend to the body, and we get to be human. We get to have a shot of tequila, smoke a cigar, have sex, right? Do all the things that
What if you had all those in one night?
well, I don't know.
Well, the tequila would actually lead to that. From the chat room, you said you wanted some questions. Chat room,
I do.
If you would, everyone, those who are interested, ask me one question. Please don't make it any more than a paragraph. In fact, keep it a sentence or two sentences. I can read the information in between the words you're actually asking. And just, so from the chat room, Kelly asked the question. She says, Nori Love, I need some love. And Kelly is love herself. I just love me some Kelly. She asked the question, how do you get back into your stuff after being sick? What would you offer to that, dear?
Boy, that's good. So a lot of times when you are sick, it brings you back into the parts of you that you've been ignoring because, who hasn't been so sick? And maybe it was just a cold, but you felt so bad that you're like, oh God, I'm just sure I'm dying. And, that tends to bring us back into our spirituality. It tends to bring us back into our connection. But if you mean, okay, so I'm just going to assume that you mean get back into your stuff, right? So get it back into the balance in body, mind, spirit, and soul. You have to look at what part of you is needing the most care right now. Is it your body? Do you have low energy because you've been sick? And if that's what it is, then you come up with a plan, you come up with a strategy, right? Okay, so every day, I'm going to make sure that and listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it really needs, providing you're really listening to the part of your body that wants to be healthy. Your body could say, hey, I want a packet of Twinkies and a Coke, and that's something else, right? So listen to your body. Every day I'm going to get up, I'm going to eat breakfast, I'm going to drink water, I'm going to do a little bit of exercise, and I'm going to commit to that at least for a week. So that might not be what you want to do, but I'm just giving you an example. Just come up with a plan. So, okay, it's my body, it's my energy, it's my lack of motivation that's really hitting me, and I'm not functioning on all cylinders. Look at the biggest thing that's calling to you at that moment, because the biggest pain, the biggest fear, the biggest heartache is going to tell you what you need to do next. So I hope that helped.
That helped me.
Aw.
Wow. I had a acquaintance, Facebook, regular, sent me a message today and said, Keith, I loved your presentation last night in the cave. Mm-hmm. I have an ex-husband who's about to get out of prison. I said, okay. And they said, he's dangerous. Can be. This and that. And she goes, and I'm doing everything I can to not focus on all that. And I said, awesome. I said, but not awesome. Let's be honest. Don't lie to yourself. She's kind of perplexed. I said, take me correctly. And this is where I led her, and I want your support or otherwise from you. She said, Keith, I'm not trying to think about it, so I don't want, because I don't want to put any energy, or I don't want to water that weed. I said, awesome, great intention, but you're missing the mark and you're causing yourself trouble. She said, how? I said, because what happens when you close your eyes and say, I'm not going to put any attention on that? She goes, I'm putting my attention on that. I said, exactly. Stop being in denial. She goes, so what do? I said, look at it. She goes, but is it not my looking at it, watering the weed, giving it attention? I said, no. Your intention is different. I'm looking at it for healing versus I'm looking at it because I'm scared shitless. I said, look at it. And simply by looking at it, it changes. In other words,
Yes.
you
Yes.
look at it, you ask it what it wants, and as you look at it, it's like, you really don't mean as much as I thought you did, because in the I don't want to look at it is
Right.
where all the unconscious power gets delivered. What would be
Absolutely.
your thoughts about that, sweetheart?
Oh, well, I love that you're bringing this up because I actually had that to talk about tonight. So when we don't want to look at something because we're scared or we're afraid it's going to hurt or we're afraid it's going to mean that we're going to have to change, the things that our mind does while we're trying to hide from that creates a huge wave of collateral damage because we don't recognize it because we're like laying in bed in the fetal position going, I don't want to look, I don't want to look. But then there's these little thoughts that trickle through that, oh, well, remember that time with him, and oh, remember that time with him. And as we're experiencing that emotion about that time with him, that's where we're putting out the energy to the universe and we're watering that seed that we don't want to water. So the best thing to do is to go, okay, I'm refusing to look at it. I know what this is. I'm going to make a plan, because you might not be ready to just get up and look at it right then. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to face it. I'm going to look at it. And when you can face it, you're so right, Keith. You look at it and you're like, you know what? That's not as scary. That's not a big, scary, hairy, frightening monster that I thought it was last night when I was in the fetal position.
We make the wolf bigger than he actually
Exactly.
is.
And it's just a puppy. It's a puppy.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. From the chat room,
Yes.
let's see. Sana asked the question or states, I had 3 surgeries in 6 weeks, again on the same foot. I have been feeling so lost and frustrated. I want to just scream.
Wow.
My thought before I hand the baton over to Nori is, sister, you go in your room, or it doesn't matter. You can do it in the middle of Walmart. I don't give a shit. You do that very thing. When you feel that primordial scream come from within you, don't be so self-conscious about worrying what people think.
Yeah.
That's the least you can. In fact, if you do, not only do you compound your problem, you compound your problem to the 10th power. That's not your concern. When the it of it all, or if you can create a moment for yourself to have the it of it all come out of you, scream into. In fact, if you don't need to scream into a pillow, don't scream into a pillow. That's a way of buffering it. If there's no one around, you don't care who's around, and you want to regurgitate, you regurgitate. You get that out of that demon out of you. And when you do, you will feel like you have orgasmed, like you have climaxed and reach a space in you that is truly has released. Yeah, no, yeah, Nori?
Absolutely. And so this is actually a big storm for her, even though, it was like a little bit of rain, a little bit of thunder, it was 6 surgeries, but it's really a big storm. So I agree with you that she needs to let it all out, and sometimes you can't really let it out unless you have somebody asking you the right questions. And after you have been, this is my word from being a nurse, after you have been over instrumented, you have been touched, you have been poked, you have been cut with scalpels, you have been put to sleep, you have been, touched when you didn't want to be touched. When it happens too many times, there's a part of you that like puts this shell around you. And, sometimes you need a little bit of help or somebody to hold space for you while you break out of that shell. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a personal example. I had a storm like that after going through the death of my mother. And by the time it was all said and done, I kept trying to hold it in, hold it together, hold it in, don't cry, I think I felt similarly to the way that you felt. And I decided, I could feel myself suffocating under that shell. I couldn't get back into real life. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go do this once and for all. And I went down to this place that was a wildlife refuge in Virginia Beach, and I could stand on the end of this long pier that went way out into the water, and it was a storm. It was one of the biggest storms that has ever happened that I went out in. And I went down to the end of the pier and I leaned up against one of the pilings and I threw out my arms and I threw my head up into the rain and I just screamed. And with the piercing sound of that scream and the vibration of it, it loosed that shell that had built up around me. And you may not need to do something. I mean, that just happened very intuitively for me. I was guided to do that. You know, it could happen in a different way. It could happen with a friend, you know, in a trusted conversation. It could happen in a phone call with a coach. You know, there's a million ways it could happen, but you're in a storm and it's like the pain and the frustration that you're feeling is calling to you saying, come on, face the storm, face it. And once you do, you'll never be the same again. You know, you're not going to go back into that place of frustration or fear or feeling like a victim or feeling angry or feeling disappointed. The supreme disappointment of the medical field, right? 6 times. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
Everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard, the Center of Light Radio tonight. My beautiful angelic guest, Miss Nori Love, and we are speaking about all kinds of types of increasing your well-being during changes and storms. And I think after this Lavender Soul break, my spiritual band comprised of members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. I gotta say that. Why? Because it's cool, man. I'm playing with members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. Lavender Soul, our new album working title is called Atmosphere. We have been writing songs. Actually, I'm gonna lean into a friend of mine who comes out to one of my open mic sessions on Monday, Allie Wallace, 21 years old, she wrote this amazing song. I'm warning you. You got about 30 seconds to grab some tissue because like Nori and I have been talking about, spirit is going to move through you and you're going to snot all over yourself. Going to be right back. And I want to move further into the topic of Nori's title, which is increasing well-being during times of change and all the nonsense, all the frickin' nonsense that's happening in the world. I'm sure she's going to give us some amazing pointers. Here's a dear friend of mine. Get your napkin. Allie Wallace. My God, what a beautiful song. Beautiful young lady. Check this out.
I don't know anymore. My mind and soul, they fight the war. Lost my faith in myself and everything else. Yet I'm so afraid to lose it all. I guess I'd rather try than die not knowing. I guess I'd rather fight than give up hoping that maybe you would find the courage to grow with me. All I want is you, nothing but you. This won't work unless you want me to fight for me, dear. That's all I ask of you. So go ahead and reel me in again. Love me good and make me feel something. Promise me you'll never let me go. Go ahead and break my heart again. If she flirts, she's more than just a friend. Fool me twice, I guess this one's on me. But don't you ever expect anyone to love you like me. I don't know anymore. I ask myself, what is this for? I want just know today. I guess I'd rather try than die not knowing. I guess I'd rather fight than give up hoping that maybe you and I can make it some way somehow. But maybe it is best to give up hoping, suffer through the pain of losing you, knowing there's still so much of me that loves so much of you. So I'll go ahead and break your heart this time. In the end, at least it wasn't mine, though this hurts me more than I can bear. I promise you you'll find somebody new, and I know I'll find somebody who will love me for exactly who I am. But don't you ever expect anyone to love you like me. Oh, like me. You lied, I thought you were my friend, a thief who stole my innocence. I fought and lost, your heart was not the broken one. I tried to fight the fears that I had to hide, but in the end, I'll let myself be free. So I'll go ahead and love myself this time. Cut you off, get you out of my mind. The pain is dulled and I can finally breathe. I'll work on me and find somebody new, 'cause I know I'll find somebody who will love me for exactly who I am. But don't you ever expect anyone to love you like I did.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Hello, all you beautiful, sexy human creatures. Welcome to Center of Light on this Tuesday night. It is approximately Central Time, 8:07. Time for all of us to go to heaven. Did you not just go there listening to Ali sing that heartfelt song? Dear Lord. Couple of adverts real quick. September 21st and 22nd, Spiritual Expo in Memphis, Tennessee. $20 for 2 days, $15 per day. Take a road trip, come see me, come hang out with this cool cat so we can sit down and get fat on some spiritual love. Come out to the expo. Lots of really cool things are going to happen. Also, September 25th, Memphis, Tennessee, Swamji. Check this out. The Divine, question and answer with the Divine. Look at that. It's just amazing. Can you not see the power of the infinite light effortlessly oozing off of this being? Question and answer with the Divine. What is the state of the world? I am so serious and passionate about what I do. It's bringing me to tears. It costs you nothing. Whatever your deity is, Jesus, Buddha, your great-grandmother, what it would be like to be in the presence of such a being for you. That's what it will be for you, whether he's your chosen Lord or not. The point is the grace you're going to feel, that the light you're going to feel, the unconditional, I use this word on purpose, ancient. It's ancient. Cosmic knowledge that comes off of this man. Your mind can't understand it. In its feeble attempts to try to do so, it can't. I'm also going to be doing a brand new webinar, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it, as Nori and I talked about in the past, let's call it a retreat. We need not only to treat ourselves, but we need to do it often. Hence, a retreat. And it is power, connection, purpose. 4 models I will be giving you so you can have a real experience right here and right now. It's a spiritual shortcut quote. Question and answer. No one has access but you. It's very cheap. It's very affordable. I do take payments. Well, Keith, you take payments. That sounds pretty expensive. No, it's not. For a life-changing program. This is not really a sell point. This is me earning, deserving of my living, about living my passion. All that I do right now for the last 7-8 years has been pro bono. Now, this bird is beginning to fly. My life is beginning to flourish in this way. And I will never be miles away from my people, my tribe. I'm such a personable guy. If I met you in a venue, I will come sit at your table and eat French fries out of your basket without ever asking you. I'll just dig in. You know why? Because I can. Hello, beautiful.
Hi, that's so cute.
Are you having a good time?
I am. The best.
Nori,
The best.
thank you, everyone. Nori did share her contact information in this forum. Please give her the respect she's due. Go check out her beautiful work. She wants to activate you. It's not a wanting of hers. It's a wanting that you want. And she just enjoys the doing of it. Nori, before this last song commercial break, I mentioned, can we move more into increasing well-being, about the changes that are happening in the world, as well as, what is the other one? The changes and the storms. Nori, we look around the world. They are spraying the skies. And this is not political. This is not blaming. The fact is, being a human being in this world, without blaming anyone, and trying to be a light warrior, worker. Okay, my skies are being sprayed. That's a fact. Okay, the earth is beginning to move. That's a fact. The food is poisoned. That's a fact. The vaccines are poisoned. That's a fact. And all these things that seem like conspiracy theories, whether these things are facts or not, let's play with the idea that something is happening somewhere in the world that moves us all in such a way it's very difficult for us to find balance. Please, I'm asking, I'm beseeching. From this place in my heart that I'm going to put to Swamji as I'm putting to you. How do we find a place inside of us so we can stand erect through all this crazy fucking movement that is taking everybody left and right, in and out, up, down? How do we do that, dear?
That's such an important question. And, the most poignant thing I think that I can say right now is that fear is the trick. Fear is the enemy. Fear is the poison, if you will. So, some people have nice packaged up little lives and they have to just go living their life and not notice those things that are happening around us. And that's good. We're not going to activate those people or get them to look at our skies or the food or any of that. But some of us can't help but see. We have vision and we have awareness. And, if we're that type of person, then there's something here for us to do. The biggest culprit to throw us off of our balance is fear. So if we see lines in the sky and get frightened and go home and, start talking about, I'm scared and, this, get on some kind of a blog post and start talking about it. Okay, so that's where we're feeding the seed that we don't want to feed. So we need to acknowledge, okay, that those lines in the sky, that's a storm for me. Okay, that's a storm, and it's going to throw me off balance if I don't recognize it's a storm. So it's a storm. Here's my plan. I am aware that that's going on, but I am a light being. I am a healer. I am a comforter. I am an uplifter. I am a space holder. Whatever it is that your job is, just fully step into your role. And that's like putting on armor. So as long as you're in fear, you're not going to step into your role. As long as you're afraid of the storms and all of the things that are happening, you're not going to step into it and show up and go, okay, I'm here. I'm being me full out. And, part of doing what you came to do might be quieting the fear in other people. Because the answer is not, in complaining about everything that's happening. The answer is going inward and going deeper and deeper inward. And when you go so deep inward, you know that the stuff in the sky or the earthquakes or the whatever else is coming can't hurt you, because you are an eternal, timeless being. And we don't end here, in this incarnation. And that is truly, truly, truly how we stay in balance.
I love that you said it's one of my favorite things to say, and I'm gonna say it again, y'all. For those who've been watching me, I'm gonna say it forever. Inward is upward. Upward is forward. Inward is upward. Upward is forward. Inward is upward. Upward is forward. Outward is downward, which is backward. I also love the fact that you came back around full circle. Nori, something you said at the beginning of this interview was, Oprah Winfrey said this many years ago, and it sticks. As we look out and about into the world, people are scared. No. Let me rephrase that. People are hungry for something. They don't even know that they're hungry, what they're hungry for. They don't even know that they're looking for spiritual manna. They don't even know that. You can see it in people's eyes. On the flip is, people are scared. And, look, as a spiritualist, you, me, I can't speak for you, me, and others, I don't mean it's an active fear, oh my God, they're spraying the skies, but shit, they're spraying the skies. The earth is moving. No matter how spiritual woo-woo a person is, if you're in your house and that ground begins to shake beneath your feet, you're not going to go, well, I'm Mr. Spirit, Mrs. Spiritual. You're going to be saying, oh, whatever. This is actually transpiring in my life. And of course, it may take a person to go, okay, this isn't transpiring. Yes, I'm smart enough to be aware. I'm smart enough to be cognizant. I'm smart enough to plant myself so I can have the clarity to make sound choices that are in my best integral interest to bring me safely to the peaceful shore. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. So my point is, sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, life can just grab us and yank us into the fishing lure. It's going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher. That's kind of the divine dichotomy. It's going to get tougher before it gets easier. That's kind of the test to see who is going to be so planted when we have to re-examine the enigma of God. We have to re-examine what we think to be holy and what we think to be blasphemous.
Yes. Yes to all of it. Somebody said that we were frozen. Is our feed okay?
I've never had, I have
Okay.
once in a great while, but I've been seeing that I've been dropping frames, but they say the audio's still okay. And
Okay,
this really
all right.
never happened, so.
Okay. Well, the
What-
energy is huge tonight, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks.
it's massive. Yeah. So, when I was listening to you, I kept going back to thinking about how it was to be a nurse in the burn and the trauma ICU. And literally, there were times where death and destruction was so rampant in our unit that if I took a moment to think about everything that I was in the middle of, I would have probably fallen apart. And no matter what comes, it's going to be the same way that it was for me when I was in the middle of that. I stayed focused on my mission. I stayed focused on what I was there to do. I was always there for the patient, and I was there for the science, right? Because I was good at that and I loved doing that. And I was there for the healing, but I was there for the human being. And no matter what happens, we're always going to know what to do, because we're going to look over and see a little girl and suddenly she's alone, right? Okay, that's going to take priority. We're going to go and we're going to help her, and then we're going to see something else and we're going to go do that. We're always going to be guided to the next thing. And when we're following that inner guidance, it's always going to lead us to where we need to be. And that's on the shore.
You know what, Nori? Analogous. It's so beautiful. Sure. Some years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was at a beautiful sister friend of mine's house. And I pulled my little car into her backyard through this little tight gate, and she has a built-in swimming pool. And my son, being the little boy he is, was playing in a swimming pool. And he kept saying, help. And he's playing around just being a kid. I said, son, you can't cry wolf like that. Don't do that. And so I'm washing my car in her backyard, overlooking my son while he's got a life preserver on. And so, but he's waiting on this side of the pool. But an hour before, I said, son, sometime in your life, you're going to have to jump into the deep end of the pool of your life, as well as the deep end of this literal pool. He took me literally.
Oh boy.
Exactly. And so I'm vacuuming the car. And barely I can hear, help.
Ah.
And something says, look up. And he's going under.
Oh my gosh.
On the 9-foot side of the pool. And he's 8 feet from the wall. Instinct says, sink or swim. And as you are describing, I see him finding the resources within himself to get to the side. And when he got to the side, I pulled him out, and Mr. Spiritual Teacher, trying to understand what he went through. I actually asked him at his young age, in this moment, son, what does it feel like to be you? What did you just go through? And now what are you experiencing that you did this trial?
Yeah.
You've accomplished this mountain. And of course, in his best attempt, what, Dad?
What?
But this is so analogous to what you described. We get in these places where we're left to fend for ourselves. No life coach, no Jesus, no Buddha. Nobody's coming for you. You better sink, or you're going to sink or swim.
And that's really the underlying essence of everything that I wanted to talk about tonight, because well-being means that you've gone inward and you've gotten to know exactly who you are. And you may not know all the resources that you have available to you, but you've developed that inner relationship with you and with God, or whatever you call your higher power. You've developed that relationship to where you can be confident that no matter what storms come, no matter what pool you fall in, no matter what happens on the global stage, you're going to be okay.
And I would like to add to that, Nori, and not only are you going to be okay. Well, this storm happened, I know I'm going to be okay. That's awesome that you have reassurance that I know I'm going to be okay. I invite you to be so okay with it that you look at this storm, as we mentioned earlier, look at it, pull it out, and look at it. And as in so doing, you literally begin to okay your way through it. Not out of it, not above it, not around it. You okay your way through it.
Exactly.
When you step into the darkness, the abyss of yourself, you have to go to hell to go through that fire, by trial by fire, in order to aspire. If Jesus is the teacher and the way sharer, he descended into hell, supposedly, metaphorically, or literally for 3 days to move into that space. So what I invite that you do is you look at these conundrums, these self-inflicted conundrums, and say, wow, I understand what you're trying to tell me. And in so doing, the wall becomes disassembled.
Exactly. And it's like you said, that it's self-inflicted, and the fire, we're going to keep bringing ourselves to the brink of fire, right? With all of these situations that we create for ourselves until we are willing to walk through the white flames, and once you do that, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to explain how amazing
Let me
that
ask
is.
you that. Since you can't explain it, it sounds blasphemic, but let's give it your best attempt. How, and it's tough. We talked about this earlier. It's hard. There are no words to describe you and I's poor attempt at describing that. What does it feel like, Nori Love, when this dynamic, this human spiritual dynamic begins to integrate itself in you? In your poor attempt, what does it feel like to be you in this way?
Ah, wow, grateful. I feel grateful. I feel profoundly grateful. I feel like I get to, I mean, having gone through the flames, and when you have that day that you think that you just can't make it one more day, and you make it through it, then you're pretty much on the other side. And that's where, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Suddenly everything is different. And I live I live every day in a state of awe and wonder. I really do. That doesn't mean that things don't happen and I get attacked by haters, or somebody in my family gets sick, or those things all happen. But the way that I experience them now is so different. It's so different.
That is the level of mastery, and you deserve your kudos. For anyone out there, when you understand, yes, this thing just happened and it moved me. I'm coming back to center. That is dabbling in the art of spiritual mastery versus, oh my God, this thing happened and I hope I'm there when karma pays them back so I can witness it. What makes you think that the same karma did not rear its ugly head and pay you a visit as well?
That's true.
When you take that responsibility, yes, it moved me off my center. I don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. No one's asking you to like it. What is required of you to expand into the full human being expression of creator that you are is to bring yourself back to a space of center, because as the center of your life, the center of light that you are, God lives in you, and what lives in you creates worlds and universes. No one no longer has any excuse. There is no more excuse. Once someone divulges such spiritual love, wisdom nuggets to you, that the creator of all things lives in you, you now become accountable for your life. Is your accountable life worth currency? Or are you gambling, expecting life's jackpot to pay off when you have nothing to back up your bet? That's really the crux of it, isn't it, Nori? When we bring it back to center, it's mine and mine alone. Someone can put my hand on the light switch or put my hand on the doorknob, but I am alone in this endeavor.
Yeah, you do this like your dreams. You really do. I mean, you'll have friends and you'll have people to support you and you'll have somebody to pray for you and hold space for you. But the truth is, you do it like you do your dreams, and you pretty much do it alone. Yeah.
Nori, thank you for being in a beautiful expression on Center of Light. Is there something you would like to leave us with, as well as your contact and anything you want to announce about you and how this beautiful, sexy human listening audience can find more about what you're doing, dear?
Thank you. So my website, Everything Conscious, is going to be up, and that's going to be the place where you can come and experience all kinds of things that will increase your well-being, including some products and some fun stuff. The most important thing I want to say is, when I was listening to that beautiful song after we had that conversation, after we had that experience, is that when I say be you full out, I'm thinking of everybody showing up with their superhero cape on, like, yeah, I've been through the fire, here I am. But when I was listening to that song, I wanted to say, be you full out. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to have your nose running down your face. Don't be afraid somebody's going to tell you you're crazy. Don't be afraid to stomp your foot or throw a tantrum or beat your pillow or do whatever you have to do to break through that shell that begins to close down on your life force. And I think that's like the most important thing that I want to say. Of course, I want to see you when you have your superhero cape on. But if you need somebody to remind you that you are so perfect, whole, complete, and beautiful while you're going through that, you just email me, norilovemail@gmail.com.
See, as I sit here and experience you, not watch, listen, as I experience you and take you in fully, you're not just reciting a bunch of words. You are truly speaking from it. This is so experiential for you. There's no fallacy. There's no crap in what you're saying. You're not trying to sell anybody your nonsense. You're trying to say, listen, I love you, cosmic sibling. And this is my place and where I'm at. And if you have a nugget for me, send me an inbox and give me some of your juju. See, because you and I are like that in that way. It's like, I'm very much a teacher. I am very much a student. I want someone who has something for me that could bring me to a multidimensional space of greater ecstasy, intention, bliss, sacredness, and all those wonderful things. Nori, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please come back anytime you like. Let us know what you're doing.
I would love to. Thank you.
Everyone, Nori Love from the angelic fairy kingdom. She is a cosmic sister of mine, as yours as well, but I know it from soul to bones. Nori Love. We've been talking about increasing well-being during these times of change and storms. My name is Keith Anthony Blanchard. Thursday night, I'm going to be interviewing, and I lost my sound bite, Hillary Ramo on designing your inner landscape. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do probably definitely another cave episode. I may have one or two more. I'm going to end that series. But I'm thinking about creating a new series called Good News, like a news program. Good News for the Modern Man. Peace, love, and live in the light. You're in the light already. Why not be conscious of it? The effects will be so much more to your liking. I love you beyond measure. It is my pleasure to be with you. Peace, love, and light.